inches, maybe 3 feet if they're really going for it. 5 meters? Bro, that's a straight-up statue. Lin Mo's trained eye caught something off about the blueprint. Sure, it was labeled model, but the internal load-bearing structure, the stress points, way too precise for something decorative. You don't design an internal skeleton that complex just to look good. Whoever drew this either knew exactly what they were doing, or they straight up copied a real piece of heavy machinery. I-500K down, Y500K on delivery, 2 days. Lin Mo took a long, bitter drag of smoke, let it roll around in his lungs, and forced himself to calm down. Take this job, it might kill him, pass on it, he's an idiot. 2 days, a 16-foot shell, and it has to look premium. Lin Mo exhaled a smoke ring and his eyes slowly went feral. If they want premium, no resin, no foam, we're going steel. He glanced at the plasma cutter in the corner, the one he'd modified himself, and let a half-crazy grin spread across his face. Client wants an exact replica? Don't blame me for going heavy. Meanwhile, downtown Zhonghai, top floor of the Su Group Tower. Susan hung up the phone and rubbed her temples. She was wearing a full Chanel couture set, but no amount of designer clothes could hide the anxiety written all over her face. You get the model sorted? Her assistant Xiaozhang carefully set down a cup of coffee. Suchin let out a sigh. Yeah, found a craftsman in the old district. Fingers crossed he's legit. The last few studios were a total disaster. Plastic toy quality. Grandpa would have roasted me alive. This time I had someone draw it up based on the leaked Crimson Storm concept art from that game. It needs to hit hard. But, Xiaozhang hesitated. The specs we sent, are they maybe a little... What's wrong with 5,000 mm? That's like 50 centimeters. I checked with a ruler. It'll fit perfectly on Grandpa's desk. Xiaozhang opened his mouth, ready to explain that 5,000 millimeters is 5 meters, not 50 centimeters. But looking at Suchin, who looked ready to blow at any second, and with the company already getting squeezed by competitors, he swallowed it. Maybe she just wants a big one for the garden or something. Suvin had no idea that her frantic little phone call, plus that one fatal extra zero, was about to send shockwaves through the entire city. In this world, one accidental slip from Suchin, one obsessive streak from Lin Mo, and the gears of fate didn't just start turning, they slammed straight into 5th gear. And burned the clutch on the way up. Night fell, a storm was rolling in. On the north edge of Zhonghai, a scrap metal yard, machine's graveyard. A giant electromagnet crane swung through the air, snatching up twisted heaps of steel like a vulture picking at a carcass. A beat-up pickup truck, where everything rattled except the horn, came roaring into the yard, slammed the brakes, and skidded to a stop next to a pile of wrecked excavators. Old Wang, open up! Big business tonight! Lin Mo jumped out. Rain mixed with motor oil instantly soaked his hair. The night watchman, Old Wang, wrapped in a military coat, squinted through the rain. You losing your mind, kid? Middle of the night? What are you on? Looking for more junk? Not junk. Lin Mo tossed him a carton of premium cigarettes. Bought with the deposit, 0 regrets. I need the hydraulic arm off that scrapped Caterpillar excavator, the chassis rail from that retired heavy truck you guys pulled last month. Oh, and that high-pressure turbine fan from the shipyard. You still got that? Old Wang caught the smokes, blinked. It's all here. You gone nuts, boy? What are you building, a steel mill? Lin Mo grinned wide, teeth flashing white in the storm, looking absolutely unhinged. A gift, something real special for someone important. 3 hours later, Galaxy Repair Shop. Lin Mo was shirtless, lean muscle catching the light. Welding mask on, industrial torch in hand, spitting a blinding blue-white arc. The 5,000 millimeter blueprint was pinned to the wall, covered in handwritten stress calculations he'd just worked out. Most people would just slap a frame together and call it a shell, but that's for hacks. Lin Mo was welding the base while simultaneously running a full 3D model in his head. In his mind, the scrap metal wasn't junk anymore. The excavator's hydraulic arm, that's the primary load-bearing structure for the mech's legs. The truck's chassis rail, cut and reformed, that became the mech's ribcage. The turbine fan got stuffed into the back as a simulated thruster. Client said it needed to be real. Lin Mo stared at the knee joint on the blueprint, a complex ball and socket design. If he just welded it solid, it wouldn't move at all. It'd just be a statue. Lin Mo frowned. His perfectionism kicked in hard. You're paying this much and it can't even move? That's embarrassing, that's on me. He dropped the torch, dug through a pile of junk, and pulled out a set of 4 servo motors, stuff he'd scavenged from a shuttered automation factory last year. He'd been meaning to refurb them and flip them. Now every single one was going into this thing. He wired the motors into the excavator's hydraulic system, then started writing the control code. For a normal person, this would have been impossible. But for Lin Mo, the circuit board traces read like a street map. Obvious, clear, intuitive. No fancy diagnostic equipment, just a multimeter and a half-dead laptop, and he started breathing life into this steel monster. Time ticked by. By the end of the first night, the mech's lower body frame was done. Those thick steel legs radiated raw industrial power.